Many people were traveling with Jesus. He said to them, "If you come to me, but will not leave your family, you cannot be my follower. You must love me more than your father, mother, wife, children, brothers and sisters, even more than your own life. Whoever will not carry the cross that is given to them when they follow me cannot be my follower." If you wanted to build a building, you would first sit down and decide how much it would cost. You must see if you have enough money to finish the job. If you don't do that, you might begin the work, but you would not be able to finish. And if you could not finish it, everyone would laugh at you. They would say, "This man began to build, but he was not able to finish." If a king is going to fight against another king, first he will sit down and plan. If he has only 10,000 men, he will try to decide if he is able to defeat the other king who has 20,000 men. If he thinks he cannot defeat the other king, he will send some men to ask for peace, while that king's army is still far away. It is the same for each of you. You must leave everything you have to follow me. If not, you cannot be my follower. Salt is a good thing, but if the salt loses its salty taste, you can't make it salty again. It is worth nothing. You can't even use it as dirt or dung. People just throw it away. You people who hear me, listen. Many tax collectors and sinners came to listen to Jesus. Then the Pharisees and the teachers of the law began to complain. "Look, this man welcomes sinners and even eats with them." Then Jesus told them this story. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep, but one of them gets lost. What will you do? You will leave the other 99 sheep there in the field and go out and look for the lost sheep. You will continue to search for it until you find it. And when you find it, you will be very happy. You will carry it home, go to your friends and neighbors, and say to them, "Be happy with me because I found my lost sheep." In the same way, I tell you, heaven is a happy place when one sinner decides to change. There is more joy for that one sinner than for 99 good people who don't need to change. Suppose a woman has 10 silver coins, but she loses one of them. She will take a light and clean the house. She will look carefully for the coin until she finds it. And when she finds it, she will call her friends and neighbors and say to them, "Be happy with me because I found the coin that I lost." In the same way, it's a happy time for the angels of God when one sinner decides to change. Then Jesus said, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger son said to his father, 'Give me now the part of your property that I'm supposed to receive someday.' So the father divided his wealth between his 2 sons. A few days later, the younger son gathered up all that he had and left. He traveled far away to another country, and there he wasted his money living like a fool. After he spent everything he had, there was a terrible famine throughout the country. He was hungry and needed money. So he went and got a job with one of the people who lived there. The man sent him into the fields to feed pigs. He was so hungry that he wanted to eat the food the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. The son realized that he had been very foolish. He thought, "All my father's hired workers have plenty of food, but here I am, almost dead because I have nothing to eat. I will leave and go to my father. I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against God and have done wrong to you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son, but let me be like one of your hired workers.' So he left and went to his father. While the son was still a long way off, his father saw him coming and felt sorry for him. So he ran to him and hugged and kissed him. The son said, 'Father, I have sinned against God and have done wrong to you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Hurry, bring the best clothes and put them on him. Also, put a ring on his finger and good sandals on his feet. And bring our best calf and kill it so that we can celebrate with plenty to eat. My son was dead, but now he is alive again. He was lost, but now he is found.' So they began to have a party. The older son had been out in the field. When he came near the house, he heard the sound of music and dancing. So he called to one of the servant boys and asked, "What does all this mean?" The boy said, "Your brother has come back, and your father killed the best calf to eat. He is happy because he has his son back safe and sound." The older son was angry and would not go into the party. So his father went out and begged him to come in. But he said to his father, "Look, for all these years I have worked like a slave for you. I have always done what you told me to do, and you never gave me even a young goat for a party with my friends. But then this son of yours comes home after wasting your money on prostitutes, and you kill the best calf for him." His father said to him, "Oh, my son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But this was a day to be happy and celebrate. Your brother was dead, but now he is alive. He was lost, but now he is found." Jesus said to his followers, "Once there was a rich man. He hired a manager to take care of his business. Later, he learned that his manager was cheating him. So he called the manager in and said to him, 'I have heard bad things about you. Give me a report of what you have done with my money. You can't be my manager anymore.' So the manager thought to himself, 'What will I do? My master is taking my job away from me. I am not strong enough to dig ditches. I am too proud to beg. I know what I'll do. I will do something to make friends, so that when I lose my job, they will welcome me into their homes.' So the manager called in each person who owed the master some money. He asked the first one, 'How much do you owe my master?' He answered, 'I owe him 100 jars of olive oil.' The manager said to him, 'Here is your bill. Hurry, sit down and make the bill less. Write 50 jars. Then the manager asked another one, 'How much do you owe my master?' He answered, 'I owe 100 measures of wheat.' Then the manager said to him, 'Here is your bill. You can make it less. Write 80 measures. Later, the master told the dishonest manager that he had done a smart thing. Yes, worldly people are smarter in their business with each other than spiritual people are. I tell you, use the worldly things you have now to make friends for later. Then, when those things are gone, you will be welcomed into a home that lasts forever. Whoever can be trusted with small things can also be trusted with big things. Whoever is dishonest in little things will be dishonest in big things too. If you cannot be trusted with worldly riches, you will not be trusted with the true riches. And if you cannot be trusted with the things that belong to someone else, you will not be given anything of your own. You cannot serve two masters at the same time. You will hate one master and love the other, or you will be loyal to one and not care about the other. You cannot serve God and money at the same time." The Pharisees were listening to all these things. They criticized Jesus because they all loved money. Jesus said to them, "You make yourselves look good in front of people, but God knows what is really in your hearts. What people think is important is worth nothing to God." Before John the Baptizer came, people were taught the law of Moses and the writings of the prophets. But since the time of John, the good news about God's kingdom is being told, and everyone is trying hard to get into it. But even the smallest part of a letter in the law cannot be changed. It would be easier for heaven and earth to pass away. Any man who divorces his wife and marries another woman is guilty of adultery, and the man who marries a divorced woman is also guilty of adultery. Jesus said, "There was a rich man who always dressed in the finest clothes. He was so rich that he was able to enjoy all the best things every day. There was also a very poor man named Lazarus. Lazarus' body was covered with sores. He was often put by the rich man's gate. Lazarus wanted only to eat the scraps of food left on the floor under the rich man's table, and the dogs came and licked his sores. Later, Lazarus died. The angels took him and placed him in the arms of Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried. He was sent to the place of death and was in great pain. He saw Abraham far away with Lazarus in his arms. He called, 'Father Abraham, have mercy on me. Send Lazarus to me so so that he can dip his finger in water and cool my tongue. I am suffering in this fire." But Abraham said, "My child, remember when you lived? You had all the good things in life, but Lazarus had nothing but problems. Now he is comforted here, and you are suffering. Also, there is a big pit between you and us. No one can cross over to help you, and no one can come here from there." The rich man said, "Then please, Father Abraham, send Lazarus to my father's house on earth. I have 5 brothers. He could warn my brothers so that they will not come to this place of pain." But Abraham said, "They have the law of Moses and the writings of the prophets to read. Let them learn from that." The rich man said, "No, Father Abraham, but if someone came to them from the dead, then they would decide to change their lives." But Abraham said to him, "If your brothers won't listen to Moses and the prophets, they won't listen to someone who comes back from the dead." Jesus said to his followers, "Things will surely happen that will make people sin, but it will be very bad for anyone who makes this happen. It will be very bad for anyone who makes one of these little children sin. It will be better for them to have a millstone tied around their neck and be drowned in the sea. So be careful. If your brother or sister in God's family does something wrong, warn them. If they are sorry for what they did, forgive them. Even if they do something wrong to you 7 times in one day, but they say they are sorry each time, you should forgive them." The apostles said to the Lord, "Give us more faith." The Lord said, "If your faith is as big as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, 'Dig yourself up and plant yourself in the ocean,' and the tree will obey you. Suppose one of you has a servant who has been working in the field, plowing or caring for the sheep. When he comes in from work, what would you say to him? Would you say, 'Come in, sit down and eat'? Of course not. You would say to your servant, 'Prepare something for me to eat, then get ready and serve me. When I finish eating and drinking, then you can eat.' The servant should not get any special thanks for doing his job. He is only doing what his master told him to do. It is the same with you. When you finish doing all that you were told to do, you should say, 'We are not worthy of any special thanks. We have only done the work we should do.' There was a man named Lazarus who was sick. He lived in the town of Bethany, where Mary and her sister Martha lived. Mary is the same woman who put perfume on the Lord and wiped his feet with her hair. Mary's brother was Lazarus, the man who was now sick. So Mary and Martha sent someone to tell Jesus, 'Lord, your dear friend Lazarus is sick.' When Jesus heard this, he said, 'The end of this sickness will not be death. No, his sickness is for the glory of God. This has happened to bring glory to the Son of God.' Jesus loved Martha and her sister, and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was 2 more days, and then said to his followers, 'We should go back to Judea.' They answered, 'But teacher, those Jews there tried to stone you to death. That was only a short time ago. Now you want to go back there?' Jesus answered, 'There are 12 hours of light in the day. Whoever walks in the day will not stumble and fall, because they can see with the light from the sun. But whoever walks at night will stumble because there is no light.' Then Jesus said, 'Our friend Lazarus is now sleeping, but I'm going there to wake him.' The followers answered, 'But Lord, if he can sleep, he will get well.' They thought Jesus meant that Lazarus was literally sleeping, but he really meant that Lazarus was dead. So then Jesus said plainly, 'Lazarus is dead, and I am glad I was not there. I am happy for you because now you will believe in me. We will go to him now.' Then Thomas, the one called Twin, said to the other followers, 'We will go too. We will die there with Jesus.' Jesus arrived in Bethany and found that Lazarus had already been dead and in the tomb for 4 days. Bethany was about 2 miles from Jerusalem. Many Jews had come to see Martha and Mary. They came to comfort them about their brother Lazarus. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to greet him, but Mary stayed home. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now, God will give you anything you ask." Jesus said, "Your brother will rise and be alive again." Martha answered, "I know that he will rise to live again at the time of the resurrection on the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection. I am life. Everyone who believes in me will have life, even if they die. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never really die." Martha, "Do you believe this?" Martha answered, "Yes, Lord. I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God. You are the one who was coming to the world." After Martha said these things, she went back to her sister Mary. She talked to Mary alone and said, "The teacher is here. He is asking for you." When Mary heard this, she stood up and went quickly to Jesus. He had not yet come into the village. He was still at the place where Martha met him. The Jews who were in the house comforting Mary saw her get up and leave quickly. They thought she was going to the tomb to cry there, so they followed her. Mary went to the place where Jesus was. When she saw him, she bowed at his feet and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw Mary crying, and the people with her crying too, he was very upset and deeply troubled. He asked, "Where did you put him?" They said, "Lord, come and see." Jesus cried. And the Jews said, "Look, he loved Lazarus very much." But some of them said, "Jesus healed the eyes of the blind man. Why didn't he help Lazarus and stop him from dying?"